It's morning time, Thursday, September 27th, and just like the last two shooting days, I'm just out here, my film stuff. It's beautiful weather, which is why originally we were just going to film Monday, and I was going to have about a week off from filming, but I realized we got some more exteriors to do. It's going to be October soon, and so like the last shooting days, the last two shooting days, I'm just sitting out here waiting for my PA to arrive. I'm so wiped out, and there's so much stuff happening independent of this film right now. I'm just like, oh, and I should have gone to sleep like 2 hours earlier than I did. But we have one sequence kind of tracking with my lead in her car, and then we have a big end of the movie montage to do, which will be very off the cuff, very using what elements we have out in a rural setting to do. So it's really not. The first little bit we do tracking with her car will be fairly demanding, but after that, it'll be really just it'll be more fun, just kind of getting whatever we think of to do on the road, which is kind of how I want to do this. I want it to be very off the cuff in that style. So hopefully we'll be done around between 2 and 3. We're starting at 10 a.m. We may even be done faster. I scheduled us at a route, so we shouldn't get too lost or anything like that. So should be pretty easy. Should. This one will be shot 5, take 1, and action. What the hell is this? I'll cut it right there. Alright, so it's hot today. It's like I think this is going to be like the hottest day we'll have left before the October. It's going to be October in like 4 days. It's supposed to be like 85 degrees today. So what am I doing? Because I don't want all interiors, I got to get an exterior shot. My actors are like a block back that way. I'm going to rush through this tunnel, which I've actually gone through in other videos. This old historic tunnel here that takes me up over the car tunnel, and I'm gonna get to the other side so I can get a view of the tracks and then her car coming. The hardest part is going to be, because see, this tunnel wraps really tightly, so she's going to perceivably appear out of nowhere, and I have to be ready for her. And this tunnel is always an adventure to walk through. I've done videos here. My last documentary I walked through here because they found part of a dead torso in the Willamette River, and I honestly think this is the way the killer went, because that tunnel, the marker says it was built in 36 and these murders happened in 46, so this would have all been here. And like, if you gotta ditch a body, this is a pretty nice quiet place to do it. But anyway, I'm not here for that. I'm here to walk to the end of this pathway, and I'm gonna video along the railroad tracks to show they're here, and then I'm gonna pan around and get her as she's coming out from this tunnel and going that way. And I need to remember, she drives kind of a soft green Chevy Malibu with Washington plates. So I'm gonna be way up at the end of this thing looking back this way and filming it, of course. That's why I'm like walking really fast. I don't want them to wait forever for me. And so my sound person, so she wouldn't have to follow me, so I can just rush up here and get it done real quick. Shit! I didn't tell them where to pick me up. I'm hoping when they get up to that light, there's a pub we've been using as a turnaround, so hopefully they'll just wait for me there. I'll text that to them along with action, because I'm almost to my spot now. This is dangerous. I'm a reckless sort, but I'm also using my iPhone to get audio, because that way my sound person wouldn't need to come with me. One of Oregon City's finest just went by me. She's probably like, I see all this stuff on you. You got a permit? Also, occupational hazard. I mysteriously broke part of my fingernail. I don't know. But yeah, the take went great, and not a safe spot by any means. I'm really putting my life on the line for my craft. Well, excuse me, I got itch my nose. I already almost killed the guy I had playing the druggie on literally his like second or third take. So I mean, we've all been put in peril at some point on this film. But we're just about done with this annoying part where everything's coordinated and la 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 la. Then we're gonna do the montage stuff, which will be real. Just kind of driving around, getting various things. It's for the end of the film. Just want to get a lot of footage to blend together. And then we'll be done for the day. Not too rough. So I noticed for the first time in like the history of the universe, this viewpoint, this is kind of Willamette Falls viewpoint, is completely void of any vehicles, which is perfect for us. But with the way things have been going on this film, we literally had to turn around, come back and do one more take, and at the end of the take we pull in here. I guarantee by the time we pull in there'll be like 10 cars here. That's how it's been. Hashtag guerrilla filmmaking. Oh, hello, Pfeffer. Hello, Pfeffer. This is already dangerously close. Well, the shooting day is done. I would have gotten more. Oh, I got dust in my eyes from being out there in the. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, being out there in the boonies, a lot of dust. I would have gotten a little bit more, but pretty much the second half of the shoot we were doing, it was all stuff for the montage. It was all in the car, me filming various things from various angles, looking for various spots to stop. So I pretty much was just filming or thinking about what to film next the whole time we were out there, so I didn't really have any time to pull this up again. But we got the day done. We started a little after 10, maybe 10:15. We started getting out there to start going, and we finished like around 3:30, so yeah, a little over 5 hours. Not bad, you know. We were able to take a little bit more time because it wasn't that busy, but we got it done. And as usual, it's really hot outside. It was like 85 degrees today, but I need to go get some provisions from the store. So let's go, and I'll give you the full rundown on how this shoot went. Okay, we can go. Yeah. Still too warm. So it's been standard practice for me to, since I'm trying to eat healthier and decrease my calorie intake, lose a little bit of the, I mean, I'm about as thinned out as I have been in the last couple years, so progress is progress, but that being said, my usual process I've been going by is I've been, after the first 3 film shooting days, worn down, I get home, deflate for a second, and then I do my update video like I'm doing right now, but each time I've gone to Jack in the Box and gotten a nice, delicious, unhealthy, probably 2,000 calorie plus meal with a large soda, of course. And not that I'm gonna be picking considerably healthier options, but it's so hot. We were just sweating a lot while we were out shooting, because it's just gotten cool enough that we're kind of getting used to it kind of being below 80, and this is gonna be like the last really hot day. There might be another day or two where it's pretty warm, but it was mid 80s today, and I'm already not used to that anymore. So fast food just doesn't sound that appetizing to me, and I already have a dinner option at home, so I don't need to go buy something, but I still want to get some things to snack on, and I'm thirsty, and all that good stuff. So I'm just gonna head up to like 7-Eleven and get a few rather unhealthy provisions, but something just to hold me over. Anyway, so it's about 5.5 hours shoot.
Had we had more stuff to do, that probably would have been about an hour shorter. But because we literally only had 2 sections to film, it was like we kind of were able to just kind of let our hair down and just kind of casually go through it. And it was pretty good. The first thing we did is we have a scene where the lead character and the other lead, the not quite as much of a lead in the film. Susan's the lead, Annette is the not so much the lead, but still a lead. Just so you know. I'm trying not to give too much away from my film, but they have a falling out, and word comes down to Susan that Annette's left town via train. So I needed to film a scene where Susan's kind of at the train station, melancholic, like she knows that Annette was here and she just missed her and Annette could be gone forever. And so she's driving home, and as she's driving along, she thinks, it's very ambiguous, I never say for a fact whether she's actually hearing it or not, she potentially hears the sound of a train horn and immediately thinks there's a train close by, maybe it's her. So I filmed this really cool sequence where she's kind of chasing the train tracks. And if you've been to Oregon City, you'll know that in the kind of lower down area, old downtown there's a couple blocks where the train tracks are elevated over the streets, and there's a little side street that runs right along with it. And you can drive right down that little road right next to the elevated tracks. So you can get kind of a sort of French Connection car chase type vibe going through there. And then there's a little tunnel that the main highway goes in that goes under the railroad tracks. And when the highway comes up, it starts going up and you start leveling off with the train tracks. And then the train tracks kind of disappear. And so we were filming that where she's kind of chasing what she thinks is a train until she gets to a point where she realizes that, one, she can't chase the tracks anymore, and two, she kind of comes back down to earth and starts to think like maybe it wasn't a train she was hearing and that she just needs to accept the reality that Annette may be gone forever. So anyway, that's the first thing we filmed. We shot that first because that required being a lot more detailed. Whereas the second thing we filmed, which is a montage of her hitting the road and going and looking for Annette, was a lot more kind of open-ended. It was kind of, we just went out into the wilderness, that kind of open area between Oregon City and Estacada and Molalla, where predominantly we were when we filmed our first day, except we were mostly a little bit further east. We were a little bit closer to Estacada than Molalla, like we were the first day. And we just kind of circled and weaved in and out of these country roads, and we found a multitude of different little entry points that ultimately would lead to somebody's property, you know, little gravel roads that had gates in front of them, to stop at, to show these various places that she stopped at, to show that she's going to all these different properties until she finds the one that actually belongs to Annette. It's like this hundreds of miles trip. It's going to take days. It's exhaustive, but it's worth it to, in the end, find Annette. Of course, I'm spoiling the whole end of the movie right now, but only a few of you are going to see this, so whatever. You should still enjoy the movie. But, so we just kind of picked these few places here and there to kind of just pull up in front of the gate and stop, and then show her kind of walking up to the gate like she's going to check the property out. We had two interesting moments that kind of happened while we were trying to find these spots here and there. That guy in that van was pointing at me. Dude, I don't know you. First thing was, we passed a spot and we were like, oh, that would work for us. So we ended up turning around and coming back, and there was like a little roadway that kind of led back into the trees, and then there was actually a second one that branched off this way. So we were like, we could film her going into this one and going into this one. It'll be like she's in two different places. Well, then when we pulled back up there, we noticed there was a little small gravel road with a gate in front of it, and there was this old barn there, like its windows had all been busted out and it was super neglected. There was stuff growing there, like there were little baby pumpkins growing there, and there was a house a little ways down with a dog barking, which I was a little unsettled by that, because this barn looked like the kind of barn, you'll see it in the movie if you ever watch it. One of the properties, she walks up to the fence and you see the barn past it. This property just looked like it had serial killer written all over it. and there was like hornets swarming around it. It was very unsettling. But because of that reason, I was like, we have to use this. Just don't go through the gate, because there could be a guy with a shotgun waiting for us. And then we crossed the... Ooh, that was a loud engine you got there, sir. And then we crossed the street to film on the two little roads that were across the street from that one that we saw first. Right as we get the camera set up, I look down one of the roads, and there's this really sketchy, scruffy, kind of big guy, and he's peering at us from a ways down the road, like peering out at us from behind some trees. And I'm thinking like, okay, let's just get in the car and get out of here, because this is sketchy. And what really made me even more nervous was when I pointed it out, it seemed like the guy just disappeared after that. So we took a partial risk, and we had our lead walk down the other little road that was there, the one that the guy wasn't standing down at the end of. Got that done. I'm like, cut, all right, let's get in the car and get out of here. And then the next spot we pull into is like this little gravelly road that kind of meanders uphill a little bit and kind of disappears over the horizon. Well, we get the shot done, and I have my lead walk to kind of the top of this little gravel road, and then she's gonna come back and we're gonna leave. We'll be done. Well, apparently there's people that live up there, which, I mean, I figured it was possibly the case, but it just so happened it was one of those scenarios where they were leaving their house right as we stopped there. We were stopped there for like 3 minutes. So as she started walking back to us after we got our cut done, I start seeing a vehicle coming, and we're blocking their intersection. I'm like, oh God, okay, here we go. And we had to rush so quickly to get out of there that me and my sound person like had to walk down to the street. My actress had to back out of the lot real quickly and drive away, go and find a spot to turn around and come back and get us. And then of course we had to deal with the drama of, these people that live here obviously saw us blocking their driveway. So when she comes out, me and my sound person are just standing there waiting for the car, and she's like, and we started explaining to it, oh, like, we're just using like just the entranceway as like to represent a property thing. We're not actually going up and like invading people's properties. And at first she was kind of like, you're using my driveway, and I was like, oh God. Like, I understand wanting personal security, but it's like, we're a couple of young people with a camera and some sound equipment. So I thought she was going to be kind of bitchy about it, and now I have a bag. Anyway, had to cut briefly while I went and got some beverages and really some chips. That's really all I got. Just some backup snacks. These filming days are the days when I kind of let myself go a little bit. So if I have dinner, I want to have something a little healthy, unhealthy after it. That's what days like today are for. And tomorrow it's back to the norm, but only for a little while. Anyway, as I was saying, so we had this encounter with this woman. I thought she was going to be kind of bitchy because she was like, "You're using my front driveway," and we're like, "No. We're just picking like random spots that are like, kind of gravel entrances for like, I give her the little spiel about what we're doing. Didn't hold anything back, and she was like, "Oh, okay, no, that's fine." But just so you know, not that we weren't considering this as a possibility, because I know these outskirts past Oregon City as you start heading toward places like Molalla and Estacada. I know this all too well. She gave us a warning. All she said was like, just be warned that there's people out here with guns. Like, don't venture too far into someone's territory or they might shoot at you. Which we all had that in the back of our head, and that's why we were predominantly, this is one exception, we were predominantly stopping at places that clearly were gravel roads that ultimately led to, a logging place, or led to, oh, it's a squirrel. I heard some weird, or, you're in front of like a Christmas tree farm, or a place where, obviously somebody owns a property, so you don't go, up into it, but it's a place that, is more being used for something and monitored, and, there'll be a gate shut there, so you're not going to just drive up into, you know, who knows what. And that was like one of the only exceptions we had was in that area. In fact, we passed another one, and we saw the gravel road, and I was like, you know, that gravel road looks a little too nice, and I don't want to end up blocking somebody in and having to go through that again, so let's just move on to the next one. So those are just two interesting little things that happened as we were out there trying to shoot at these various little stop-off points, showing that my lead actress is having to go to a lot of different properties to try to figure out which one is the one that Annette actually bought and is currently setting up to be the place where she's going to spend the rest of her life. And we got through all that, and it was pretty easy, pretty quick, pretty painless. And again, it was very like, when we weren't doing that, I was just in the car getting every remote type of angle I could imagine on Susan driving, shots out the back window, shots out the side window, shots with the camera hanging outside of the car, filming along the road, shots angled up out the front window, angled down out the front window, close-ups, excuse me, close-ups, that wasn't flattering, wide shots, medium shots, light shots, dark shots, shots in the trees, shots in the open, shots on big highways, shots on little side streets, just anything I could think of to film to give a lot of options. And I will have a lot, because this is just a montage. This isn't like a 10-minute scene in the film. And I have probably about at least like 20-25 minutes of footage, probably more, just from when we were shooting stuff for the montage sequence. So cutting that together will be fun, but I'm gonna have enough. And you know, pretty much we went pretty much to the end of Springwater Road, which branches out kind of east of where Oregon City is, and it kind of ends just a little ways from Estacada. I think technically it's kind of regarded as being in Estacada where the road ends, but anyway, that was kind of our turning around point. We stopped there, we filmed a couple of things, and then I was like, let's just get back on the road and start driving home. And it was about, you know, 20 minutes, but 25 minutes between starting to head back and actually getting back to the Oregon City Shopping Center, which is where we started. And I was just filming almost ceaselessly the whole way. Any kind of random angles outside, anything that looked cool. And then we wrapped. It was about 3:30. I'm probably going to get sunburnt. I've been feeling like I was going to get sunburnt for a long time. Yeah, we had to have the AC on most of the time while we were driving. It was just too damn hot. There was one sequence where we were inside the car and we had to have the windows rolled up because we were all inside. And it was only for like maybe 7-8 minutes. And even then, by the time we got that done, we were just drenched in sweat. We'd been outside and sweated a little bit, got back in the car, got back out, and kind of the process repeated itself. And then pretty much, you know, by the 5th or 6th time that happens, you just have sweat on top of sweat, and it's disgusting, essentially. But anyway, we got it done. This was probably the easiest day we'll have because it was the least amount of stuff. This was essentially a pickup day that when we scheduled it, you know, 2 days from now it was supposed to start raining. Now apparently that's not going to happen. We're going to have another week of sunshine, but what the heck. We scheduled it in preparation for that. We got it done. That's 4 shooting days. Pretty much all the exteriors are done, thank God. And all we have left now are interiors. And like a handful of exteriors on Susan that need to be shot at nighttime. So we haven't been able to shoot them yet. So that's all we got left looming ahead of us. So hopefully by October 3rd, 6 days from now, next Wednesday, we will be wrapping on the shooting of You Make Me Smile. That would be in terms of how much stuff we've shot and how quickly we're getting it done. This is unlike any other film I've done. Every single film I've done that's been, you know, a considerable length, excuse me, kind of just that, there's always at least one shooting day that for some reason just a bunch of problems happen. Runaway Highway, my last film, we got 5 days done real quick, and then the remaining days it took us like 4.5 months to do, and it was only like 4 or 5 extra days. Couple films before that, there was we got pretty much everything done. We were left with one long shooting day left, and for some reason we couldn't get it scheduled for like 6 weeks. So it ended up taking up a lot of summer just getting it done. And then a film I did called The Runner that I did like exactly 5 years ago. Got everything done except we needed to shoot a couple of interiors of the lead character's home. Talking not even 2 hours to shoot. And it took almost 2 months to schedule. We shot most of the film at the end of August and into September. It was the end of October before we got that one last day with those little things done. So I'm very tired of getting a film almost completely done and having that one shooting day that takes forever to get done, and it turns a shoot that should have gotten done in like 3 weeks into like 2 months to get everything done. So I'm really happy, scheduling wise, everything is gone very smoothly. We even had to reschedule a day. We were originally going to shoot yesterday, but my lead had another project come up, and we just kind of bumped everything a day. So what we were going to shoot this coming Monday, we're going to shoot what we would have shot yesterday on that Monday, and what we're going to shoot on that Monday, we're bumping to Wednesday. That's the plan.